All right, moving on. What do you guys think of the new statue that has been unveiled for the King family?
The Embrace. Yeah, that's the name of it. The Embrace.
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings because, like, I'm an artist, so I don't like to just shit on art because I know it's like a vision that this artist had, but it's kind of interesting. I mean, what just to isolate the arms is kind of weird to me. Like, why couldn't it be a full, at least bust? Like, that was weird to me. It's like, why couldn't it just be like the toy? It could have, like, you know, it would have been dope if it had been like the arms up, like they were hugging, but it was like stopped at their arms and didn't do their lower body. Like, that would have been cooler to me. But to like not have no, it's almost like, and I think that's bro. Why you, well, I feel like why you was shaking your head when I said that's because I feel like the reason why they did that is because they don't want to show who it really was. They just did this super abstract thing and then saying it's Martin Luther King. And when you really look at it with the picture, yes, it's in the kind of position that the arms were, but you could have shown their likeness. You didn't just have to show their arms. That's weird.
That's my only dislike with it. I get it, this the embrace of him. And it's actually to lift up her. It's not just to talk about the king, it's to lift up her.
Right. But I'm saying likeness to show that,
yeah, and I hear what you're saying, but it's also to lift up her and say that no matter what, she was behind her man and she stood with him. And at this particular moment for the Nobel Peace Prize, she was holding him up because he was so tired and exhausted. You know what I mean? Right. But to agree with you, why not just show them from the chest up?
And that's sus.
If you were, and I don't know how much was given, but I'll say if it was $10 million given to make a 20-foot sculpture, why not just go ahead and make it look like what it's supposed to look like?
And like I said, like, if you wanted to still be figurative and do something somewhat avant-garde, like, don't do the whole body, just make it be the hug and the upper torso and show their faces and show the love in their eyes. Like, all of that would have been doper. It's kind of like taking the face out of it. It takes something away from it as a whole to me.
Yeah, because you gave people the opportunity to criticize it and say it looked like someone holding a piece of shit or someone hugging a penis. You know what I mean? Like, you gave people all these different opportunities to say things about it that wasn't really true and wasn't really there because you let the imagination run. You know what I mean? Let's mute this guy because he over here on some bullshit. Yeah, you gave him an opportunity to just say anything about it, and that was the only thing I was looking at. Like, man, if they would have taken the time, I mean, the artist is his vision. I'm sure he has a whole backstory behind it. I'm an artist, so I understand it, you know, and I get it. But you know, like I don't know, man. I think it's a dope piece. I just think there could have been more done with that.
Yeah, I think that it feels incomplete because it feels like it needs that element to, like, you know. I think you gonna unmute him.
It's on him. He gotta do it. I'm not. Like, I just muted. You can keep talking.
There you go. Oh, okay. But no, it's just I just feel like it was almost. It's like almost good, but not quite because of that. That's weird.
And my artist,
it misses to me because there's like. It takes the context of it out. You know what I'm saying? So if a person because all people are left with right now is the legend of Dr. Martin Luther King. You know what I'm saying? And then nobody ever talks about like how he was the most hated man at his death. You know what I'm saying? He had a lower approval rating than the modern Donald Trump because of that. You know what I'm saying? Before he died. So it's one of those things where it came down to what do the arms truly represent other than what they view as being or what they want us to embrace. So the embrace isn't necessarily symbolic of anything other than we want the whole world involved. You know what I'm saying? They have that globalist mentality now. So they, instead of like saying, well, this represents the family, because his true vision wasn't just about the whole world. It was about making sure that we got what we had due. You know what I'm saying? They want to say, well, his message wasn't necessarily that. His message was this. Same way they co-opt Tupac lyrics.
Yeah, I'm in an artist group, and we were talking about it. There was a discussion about it, and everybody had their different opinions, and some people were happy about it, and they said this is a good step in the right direction. And again, I still agree. If we gonna celebrate him, and like Six said, it is a legend of him now. We should be showing space. Yeah. We should be holding that up in high regard. So, in reverence of him, this is something that's really dedicated to him. This speaks volumes about him and about his wife and the bond that they have. But let's show the both of them equally.
Right, exactly. Because it's so, he has monuments and streets named after him and all of that. This would have been basically one of the only things that she would have had it, with her face and likeness being immortalized, and then they just do her fucking arms. It's just,
yeah, they minimized her contribution. So they're pretty much, the message is that all she was support. You know what I'm saying? That's, you know what I'm saying? If you take, it's all metaphorical at that point. She was the support. Like he wouldn't be able to stand if she wasn't supporting him, type of idea.
Right. Yeah. Right. But if you gonna do it, show her, because behind a strong man is what? A strong woman. That needed to be seen. But again, that goes to that other shit, right? The black man and the black woman being together, yada 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 yada. So, I think that could have been done better. Salute to the artist, Hank. Salute to you. It's a dope piece. I just think that it should have been from the torso up.
Yeah,
it should have
been. Even if it's gonna be abstract.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because we should know. Because if we're gonna say it's about her and her support and of him, we should be able to know who. Like, this is the legend of. Like, when you're doing that, this is the legend of. In memory,
I would even venture to say, as time goes on and people talk about the story and the history of Dr. Martin Luther King, it's already being whitewashed and dumbed down. There's going to be a point where people are going to say his wife's name and not really be sure what it is. Because they're going to make her more obscure to focus on whatever his legend is.
Yeah, right. And they're gonna ask, well, what did she look like? And then someone's gonna pull up a picture of a woman named Susan and say it was her. This is Coretta Scott King.
Well, they, like you said, they've been whitewashing what his message is for years. And as we all know, one of the main catalysts of his life getting ended was his whole shift of being like, okay, we got the civil rights stuff kind of going in the direction we needed to go. Let's talk about this money and all the poor people, not just black people, but all poor. Because see, once he started getting out of only black people and talking about poor as an economic class, period, that's what had them shaking in their boots, because that goes back to the beginning of slavery, really. Because when slavery, or when America first started getting settlers here, they had indentured servants. They didn't really have full-on slave for life slaves yet. They wasn't even doing that. It was all indentured service. Some was black, some was white. Natives. They had natives. The natives was more the ones that they was trying to enslave, but it was hard because they could escape. They knew the land. It was hard to enslave them. So that's why it ended up them not even using them. But what ended up happening was it was a rebellion. All of the people in the same class almost took over and killed all the rich people. They got scared. They figured out, okay, we need to make the white people who poor, that we also don't like, think that they're better than somebody, so they'll be on our side. So we gonna make the black people be the scapegoats of everything. The natives
the standard for poor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the natives, we just want to take this land. So everybody who on our side is gonna be against them just because we all trying to steal from them. So that's not even an issue. So it was more so making the white people that's poor think that they better than the black poor people, when really they was using both of them in different ways. They was using the poor white people, they was using the black people. Obviously, they was using them worse. and then like
bro said worse.
Yeah, I mean everybody's getting used. They just get used worse. You know, no rights, no anything. But that's what gave them enough to feel like, oh, I can go do all the stuff that this person who really is oppressing me in certain ways, I could listen to him because I'm not in that state. So I know I'm at least better than that. And that's what the whole basis is on. Where we at now, and they still had that mentality and don't even know it. It's innate at this point.
And let's not forget on the subject of the Kane. All right. Them motherfuckers hated him. So celebrating him and all that is only them saying, like,
he was hated by the hustlers in the streets.
Everybody.
You know what I'm saying? If you was a gangster, you hated this man. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about it. Like, they always show these images of him being supported by these massive mobs of people, right? And they show his Washington Monument speech with, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's a lot of people, but you expect to kind of see stuff like that because people like spectacle. Mm-hmm. But when you really think about him getting his head busted, you see what I'm saying? That type of shit. It's like, that man was hated, bro. It's like what he was doing, he was shaking up the fucking foundation. You know what I'm saying? Niggas who actually just adapted to being gangsters didn't want that shit. They didn't need that type of light shined on you know what I'm saying, on them at the time.
Because it made it harder for everybody else to maneuver.
So, and that's why Malcolm X always existed outside the frame of that, because the hustlers automatically knew he was a hypocrite in that way, but he was still doing what he felt was right in his heart. You see what I'm saying? It was like King was more of a threat because he had all the common people, you know what I'm saying, up in a frenzy. You know what I'm saying? I think Malcolm X, he shook up the foundation in that way, but he was more speaking. He was directly addressing the establishment. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like their messages were like down there, you know what I'm saying, parallel to each other. And but King, whatever they hated about King, dude, it was like different.
Yeah, because I mean, the way
his demonstration was just bigger though, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but here's the other thing.
I don't know. I can't say that though, bro, because he was hated by most of the nation. And then on the global scale, before it went global, I think that's what happened, because everything started being televised more in the 60s. So I think his message being broadcast to all of our like, people can see it in Russia. We was beefing with Russia.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, he had people actually watching and tuning in and seeing him and noticing. They was like, yo, who is this nigga doing all this shit, shaking up every fucking thing?
Yeah.
But they only gave this man love and appreciation when he died. The same way they did to Muhammad Ali. Hey man,
I wonder how many years
we hated you your whole motherfucking life. But when we started giving you recognition, it was when you could no longer talk and speak for yourself. And then we said we love you.
Mm-hmm. That's why I wonder how many years it took before they actually took the route of actually acknowledging him and his name. I know it was probably a whole lot of people, because think about it, it didn't stop with him. They attacked the Black Panthers. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. So
all of this stuff is like, it was an ongoing thing. You know what I'm saying? This J. Edgar Hoover and his cronies and shit like that. But the hatred, it was so divisive. I think what it is what I believe, that they wanted to control his legacy. They wanted to control what the narrative was going to be on him, because his influence was going to eventually become more socially acceptable. And they felt like, well, people are turning around and listening to his message. His message is seeming to redirect their energy. How about this? Because assassination attempts always work in that way. You know what I'm saying? You can control his legacy. You control the history on him. Who writes the history books? know what I'm saying? It ain't a bunch of niggas sitting up in their grandmama house listening to stories about the civil rights movement. Most motherfuckers' grandma don't even want to talk about it. You know why? Because he was a troublesome ass nigga.
Well, a lot of, and this is actually, it's funny that you say that, because a lot of, if you talk to older Black people that was alive during that time, it was only a handful of people that was out there with him. Most of them was at the crib watching shit on TV.
Or at work. You know what I'm saying?
Working,
working. You know what I'm saying? Living their life.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's no different than when the shit that you see right now. Like there's probably like a prominent activist that's out here that I can't even tell you his fucking name. You know why? Because it's football season. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works, bro. Because we got social media and we rather laugh at memes than read real news articles and shit like that. And on top of that, a lot of news articles are easier to get buried in the algorithm now. So these stories wouldn't even.
You gotta look. Yeah, you gotta.
Back then, it was out of control, though. They couldn't. It was hard to control stories as they get out back then, other than the fact that news moved slower.
Yeah. Right, but it was.